In this episode of Finishing My Basement, I'll be moving around some plumbing to make room for my new walls. I'm Travis and this is how I do things, and in this video series I'm going to be showing you how to finish a room in your basement step by step. I have a hose spigot valve right here that needs to move so I can access it after I install my soffit. I've decided I'm going to work on this valve first. I need to take a look at my plumbing to see where would be the best place to put the new valve. Once you figure out where to put the valve, determine all the pieces you will need to install the valve. Now take your list and head to your local Home Depot or hardware store and pick up all the fittings. It's best to try to get all your supplies before you shut the water off in your house. That way you won't inconvenience your family any longer than you need to. And now that I have all of my supplies, we can get started. First, I need to turn off the water and drain the water to any plumbing I plan to cut. When working with copper pipe, it's very important to get as much water out of the line as possible. If water is still in the lines, you won't be able to solder up the new joints. As you can see, there's very little water coming out. That's because I need to open up the hose spigot to vent the line. That certainly did the trick. Now we're ready to cut the existing pipe. Before you do that, take a good look at it and try and find the right place to cut it. Try and find a place that has a straight that's long enough that you can cut it easily and install the new fitting. I also try to look for a good spot to make my cut that doesn't have a lot of things around it that are flammable that might catch fire when I'm trying to solder on the new fitting. Using one of these copper pipe cutters is super easy. This is a compact one meant for small places. You just put the cutter on the pipe and tighten the knob until you feel pressure. Then turn the cutter 2 to 3 times. Then turn the knob a quarter turn, then turn the cutter again. Repeat until the pipe is cut. You may have some residual water still in the lines at this point, so be ready to catch it. I recommend cutting all your pieces and test fitting your assembly. Once it looks good, clean all the pipe ends with emery paper and the fittings with a wire brush. You can also use a special combination tool for this. I put a link to one down below. Then apply flux everywhere there will be solder and then reassemble. I like to test fit it again to get everything in the right orientation. Now solder all the connections in the assembly. Take your time. The heat of the pipe should be melting the solder, not the flame. It's much easier and safer to solder as much as possible on this assembly before you attach it to the existing plumbing. The solder will want to flow where there is heat and flux, so focus your heat on the fittings. If you're concerned about burning yourself, wear gloves. If you're uncomfortable with anything I cover in this video, there is no shame in hiring a professional plumber. Now I just need to let my pipe cool down completely. I only briefly covered how to solder copper pipe in this video because I have an entire video that covers it in great detail, and you can watch that video by clicking the link above. As I said before, it's a good idea to protect anything that might melt or burn with something non-flammable before you start soldering. Once the assembly has cooled, I can connect it to the existing plumbing using flux and solder and then install some supports. If the hangers are plastic, just be careful not to melt them. The original plumbing used what's called a shark bite fitting, and ordinarily I don't like using these because I think they're prone to failure. However, in this case, the ceiling will be completely exposed, so I will see this fitting forever. That being said, if it does leak, I will see the leak immediately. So in that case, there's not much risk, so I'm going to reuse this fitting. To remove a shark bite fitting, use an adjustable wrench or a shark bite tool to apply pressure on the end like this. Then just pull the pipes apart. To install, just push the pipes into the fitting. Then I finish off this by just installing any additional hangers I think I might need to support the valve. I'm all done moving that valve, so now I'm going to turn my attention to some of this PEX piping. This PEX piping is right in the way of where my framing is going to be for my soffit that's going to cover up this beam. So I'm going to move this pipe right here a couple of inches out. This PEX pipe is really easy to work with because it's so flexible. All I need to do is pry off the old hangers, move the pipes where I want them, and install new hangers. Easy peasy. If you do need to cut any PEX plumbing, you can do that easily with a set of these cutters. I put a link to one down below. If you need to make any new connections, you can do that with one of these crimping tools. This is a good tool for DIYers, but be aware that the brass fittings you use with this tool cause minor restrictions in the flow of your system. Professional plumbers use a special tool to flare out the end of the pipe so there is no restriction. Now slowly turn on the water and inspect all of your work for leaks. If you have a leak, you'll need to turn off the water and drain the pipes again to repair the leak. That's it, I am done. If you guys liked any of the products I use in this video, please check for the links down below. Then click like, subscribe, and the little notification bell so you don't miss my next video where I'm going to install an HVAC supply vent to this room. Also, maybe check out one of these other awesome videos up here. See you guys. Shark bite, shark bite, shark bite. It's hard to say. So